Do you know Kirk Cameron? He was like a Christian actor. He was in Growing Pains and stuff. He used the banana as an example of like why God's real, because the banana is like perfectly held in the hand and it peels off, and like how could like obviously God exists, because like how would this banana be so perfect otherwise? But
That's
it's, like,
what she said.
well, yeah, but also like okay, coconuts, pineapples, all the other fruit. And that banana, like we made, that's not like a real banana.
It's handheld. Yeah, when you think about it,
Yeah,
it's
true.
perfectly handheld.
Because we made it
Yeah,
genetically like that. It's us, not
Yeah.
God.
I think like influence came from humankind. That's why it suits humankind.
That's why it's real. It's true that human exists.
Yeah.
God doesn't. God didn't make
Right.
banana. We made.
That's
We
true.
made beer.
Whoever made banana
Because
is
God
God.
made mangoes though, but it's not that easy to eat.
But maybe God made bananas as like a way to practice things. Welcome to Fair Stairs, Desi Films Decoded, the podcast where four friends from different backgrounds unlock the world of Desi cinema. I'm Winnie, the Desi who's never been to India.
Hey, I'm Kelly. I'm from India. Yes, and I love films.
My name is Nikki, and I'm not good at pretending to be someone I'm not.
I'm Adam, and I'm from America. And this week I learned that India made the most progressive gay film I've ever seen in my life.
Whoa.
That's a stretch.
From this time period.
Probably like the only gay film as well. This was probably one of the first mainstream gay films.
In India?
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen a movie avoid so many landmines. And just like, I mean, come on. Like, I was watching
Like drift
this.
swiftly through it.
Minesweeper. Yeah, the execution was beautiful.
It was
Yeah.
like like Tom Cruise avoiding lasers of all the things that
Yeah.
could like cancel this movie, and they avoided it.
And then like stayed real kind of relevant for like still today. I think it would not be looked down upon much. Like people cannot find like fault lines much apart from a few, but like barely anything.
So, any guesses on what this movie is?
If you've read the title, you're right. But Vicky, what is it?
It's Dostana. It's apparently a very influential movie when it comes to talking about homosexuality. It's 2008 film.
This movie is softcore porn as well.
Oh, not really.
I felt pretty turned on when I was
Like
Is it because of Priyanka Chopra?
no
all of them.
everyone.
Like
everyone's
John
fucking
Abraham is super hot.
That is true.
Yeah, the woman. Yeah, I'm gonna say.
Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah, I mean,
Priyanka
super
Chopra
attractive.
Jonas now.
Oh yeah, oh that's her. Okay,
That is
cool.
her.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. But no, there's like a ton of revealing clothes. They're in America, they're in Florida, so I
Right.
think they have more of an excuse to, show off skin and stuff, and they do. And it's just all glamour shots. It's like softcore porn for guys and girls.
Yeah. In this movie, it stars people we've already seen in past episodes. We have Abhishek Bachchan as Sam, who's a nurse, and then the other guy is John Abraham, the hottest man alive.
For sure.
Agreed.
The hottest
Affirmative.
man alive. As some fashion photographer and his rock hard abs.
Yeah.
And then we have Priyanka Chopra, who's Neha. Yeah.
Come on, no enthusiasm for Priyanka. Look at that. Wow.
So Dostana,
I turned gay for like 2 hours.
This
watching
movie worked, yeah.
Same. I like looked into John Abraham's like
It's
life
a
and
huge
career
gay-
afterwards. I was like, this
huge
guy.
gay propaganda film.
It's the same cast as Doom.
Yeah.
It has Abhishek and John Abraham, but it has the same exact problem as Doom, where you don't understand why Abhishek is in the film. He offers nothing, he brings nothing, and next to John Abraham, you're like, well, okay, obviously, there's no love triangle. Obviously, he's better looking, he's cooler, he's funnier, he's a better actor. Abhishek, can Abby suck my dick?
Oh, wow. You heard that right here.
Team John Abraham forever.
Yeah, I don't like Abhishek, man.
I think Abhishek was like the starring though. Like I think the movie, like it was his role, and Abraham joined after, and He
Yeah,
definitely
he
had
was-
like the
he-
star fact. I feel like it was very much the movie was trying to push him as the leading role, and John Abraham as like supporting actor, which is I think what happened in Doom also. But just because of like presence alone, John Abraham takes up a lot more. Like some of the.
I think Doom was John Abraham's first role, and so that's why he was like second build. But now in this, yeah, come on. I mean,
I
like
think
how-
story wise, it's both has like equal weightage,
No,
equal
like
screen time.
Abhishek was
everything.
nominated for the best actor. It was not John Abraham for this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But realistically, looking at this scenario, Abhishek, who plays a nurse, and nothing wrong with that.
Wait, can we
versus-
talk about why? Maybe
Yeah.
that's too soon, but why is he a nurse?
To give sponge baths to women.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
That was literally his rationale.
Yeah, I forgot.
It was like a porn parody waiting to happen.
Yeah, I just sponge bath like hot babes all day. I don't do that to the elderly at all. I don't wipe old people's assholes. I just sponge bath like really hot women.
I think that encourages him so much he can do the other things
Like,
like cleaning the asshole of all
but
the
that's
people.
so weird to get into nursing because you can like,
Right, because in the scene, it's like an old man in the hospital bed asking why he didn't just study to become a doctor. It's just a few more years. And then you see like a hot lady show up and be like, "Nurse, I'm ready for my bath." It's completely out of a porno.
doctors don't see that normally. Just nurses get the hot action.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but
But it
meanwhile,
fits the gay archetype that they're going for, right?
he's a nurse.
Oh man, look at my bias showing.
Yeah. What do you mean?
that a
What do
gay
you mean
people
by that,
occupation?
Winnie?
No, like based on like social conditioning and
It's more of
gendered
a, like a
profession.
gendered, very
Right.
gendered. Nursing is gendered, so people. It's like doctor. Like when you say doctor, people would say he
right
without knowing,
automatically.
and then for nurse it would be she
Gee,
without
we're
knowing. But
breaking that
gay?
down, but step by step.
But even the movie didn't make fun of him too much.
No, which was nice.
They're like, no,
actually.
it's cool. He's a pervert. He's
Yeah.
fine as a nurse, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
The movie didn't like make fun of nurses or any, and it
Right.
didn't stretch that too much. you
But
know?
but the love triangle also was not that strong, right? Because Priyanka Chopra had another love interest the whole time, played by Bobby Deol. I remember reading an article about this movie, and the blogger was just like, "This movie tried to convince me that Bobby Deol is hot, and it's not working."
yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't working for me either.
I didn't buy that.
He gave me dumb dad energy. I'll get into that.
Yeah, right? It's like
in a
him
bit.
with Priyanka, really?
It didn't match up, and it's your boss, and he's being weird, and nothing.
And you have John Abraham right there,
That's
like
the problem.
really.
Yeah, really, Priyanka is not going for like hotness only.
but
obviously,
he
yeah.
doesn't have much personality either.
No,
we
he-
can get into it later, but
Yeah.
again, John Abraham's right there, so you should
Right,
just-
argument over.
Anyways, yeah, we promise we're gonna try to keep the length of the episodes a little shorter because the one feedback you like to hear for a podcast is talk less. So we've heard you loud and clear. We're gonna try to make it so it fits your gym exercise. All right.
No, thank you.
So Nikki, what's the setup of this movie?
It's set in Miami of all places, and you have these like two bachelors who are just like sleeping around with women. One's a nurse, one's a fashion photographer, as we've already established, and they're like apartment hunting, and they basically pair up to go look for this apartment, and then they manage to find one available apartment, but then they learn that the conditions to live there is that there's like no men allowed, and Priyanka Chopra's character is living in there, and so they have this funny little idea that they would be like, hey, why don't we just be gay and call ourselves a couple and see how it works.
I also want to mention, because she'll come up later, the auntie character.
The anti character, yes. She was the one that was the liaison for the apartment, I guess. Like, she has like this very like I don't know the right word, like narrow-minded view. I mean, we'll get that a lot. We get that a lot in this movie with like the elderly characters, like the mom and the auntie, they have like this view of how gays should be like, or like how people should
Hmm.
society roles. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Like the
Really
stereotyping
don't-
gay people, I think they were like very, very older conservative stereotyping of gay people, like how they would do, and then like kind of a condescending way of looking at them. Yeah, This is that auntie was doing that. Yeah, a lot.
But the movie is the most mean to Auntie. Like
Yeah.
the movie hates that character the most.
Yeah,
And they like constantly make fun of her and they look down on her for being kind of
Yes.
bigoted and
Yeah.
conservative and stuff. And she's the
part of the joke.
she's the butt of the joke instead of the gay people. It's her
Yeah.
for being kind of like
Yeah.
old and bigoted, which is good.
Yeah,
Yeah, there were a lot of things like they kept fantasizing her. There were like a few fantasy scenes where like she's like dressed as Marilyn Monroe at one point.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Like,
gosh, yeah.
or like she was she and her like party girls, they like touch Abhishek's character all over the place, like
Yeah, she's a horrible assaulting
horrible
person.
assaulting person. Yes, that's it.
even they do that with the mother. Like her part, like her sensible part is when she's sensible, and then her, like when she's like hating the idea that her son is gay, she's caricatured a lot.
Yeah.
Like her, all the actions are like caricatured.
But
of,
I think
like,
her
reaction.
character played like a very big part of the movie in showing that kind of progressive elements of acceptance from a parent. Because by the end of the film, she accepts her son as gay and loves
Yeah.
him no matter what. And
Yeah, the
And-
mom does a big character arc.
right.
It comes around.
And she's like the mom in every. I don't know if you guys have start recognizing her by now, but she's the mom in
Many
almost
films.
all. Yeah, like she's like the mother of Bollywood. It feels like.
I knew I picked that up when she starts slapping him. And it's like, think about your mother and her old age or whatever.
PTSD triggered all the times you've seen her slapping other.
Yeah.
Like
Definitely slapped Shah Rukh
you were
Khan
always
before.
like that. The first scene, like she was saying, like you were always like that since your father died, and it's like my father died when I was 2 years old. I think it was harder to write a father character to come around, maybe.
Maybe.
Like
That's true.
needed more
That's true.
scene to pour her
Yeah.
character arc.
And maybe it would have like caused more backlash. They're like one step at a time. Let's let the mother accept it first.
I
The
guess-
dad is a whole nother battle.
That's how it
Yeah.
happens in Indian household many times. Like it's first you have to like convince you. Most of the time, I'm not saying all the
Yeah.
time, but the thing is like you have to convince your mother first, and
Right.
most probably she would understand first, and then it goes to the father.
And I've met quite a few Indian men who are like progressive, liberal to some degree, but then when it comes to gay, they'll be like, yeah, it's okay. I'm fine with people being gay, but I wouldn't want my son to be gay. And I think that's still a very common belief to
Ooh,
hold.
yeah,
So
I've heard very
it is
pretty.
pushing.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that the film spares no time in trying to show us is that our two men are pretty hot. Like in the first opening scene, they have like rock hard abs. They dress very very stylishly. I'll just use the word stylishly. They drive like fast cars. A lot of women are all over them.
You make big money as a nurse and a photographer. If you got it, flaunt it.
How much would a nurse make in Miami?
It's actually I'd say this is
Like
get
4,000,
paid decent. Like
5,000?
40, 50,000, 50,000 a year at least.
So
Oh,
he's spending half his
50,
money on
60,000.
rent.
yeah, 50,000 is. I thought like
Probably
maybe
more.
He's being very irresponsible with his money. I
Yeah,
have to
photographer
say.
is probably less paid. I'd
way
say than nursing.
less. So they get the apartment and they live in separate rooms.
Yeah.
Wait, before
Oh,
I get
sorry.
there, before I get there, I just want to point out how they got the idea to be gay.
Oh yeah.
They went down to get hot dogs,
Of course, hot
the
dogs.
person next to them was like a really stereotypical homosexual soldier.
Yeah, that was so weird that it's a
weird.
soldier.
It was so weird. Like to me, I just broke out laughing the moment he popped in. Like he was like crying and talking in this like weird, like stereotypical like inflection. And he talks about how like, oh, my boyfriend got sent off to Iraq and we had a good life in Afghanistan. I don't know. That was weird to me.
It was so weird that he's in the American military because they famously don't like gay people.
Don't ask, don't tell, right?
Yeah, like they just told you to hide it. They wouldn't have been able to be in like an open relationship at the time. I don't know why. And it's Miami, like it's all gay people doing any other job. Like be a hairstylist, dog walker,
But
But it's like if you want to feel like you're in Miami, here's a vet for you just to remind you that you're in America.
no, but I think. Oh, wait. There is no gay people in the army.
There's
There
tons.
is absolutely.
But
But they're not.
Hush, hush.
At the time, they weren't allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
to reveal.
but he's a veteran, is it? Or he's still in the? Was it in
Even
uniform?
still, just the
Yeah.
there's no stereotype of like gay military people at the time. You know,
Ah.
like it's just
Hidden.
it's weird.
But this movie's progressive for these
Yeah.
reasons.
Super progressive, and they see the hot dogs and like, hey, we have dicks that look like that. Why don't we pretend to suck each other's like the hot dog we're about to eat?
Yeah.
Yep, and that's exactly what they did, and they lived happily ever after.
They're like, this is so much better.
yeah, they managed to convince the auntie, right? And then like they
They have to 69 each other in front of Auntie and for her to believe it.
and then like they even had to like cook up a story about how like they met each other in Venice, and you have like this very like
Which is like,
cheesy
why?
encounter.
They
Like,
just wanted to
flashback
film
scene.
in Venice.
Yeah.
It was Keijo being like, let's go to Venice. There's no reason.
And they were like doing like the most like like they were doing like these feminine gestures and dancing. Like,
Yeah.
the most
In the most stereotypical
stereotypical way.
fashion.
I don't know how else
I
to
think
put it.
Abhishek was being like more effeminate and right,
Yeah.
and then John was being like the like more duty. Yeah.
Reserved.
Yeah, they were trying that
Yeah.
stereotype.
Who's
Yeah.
who's the top and who's the bottom?
Yeah, what's your guess? Actually, that's a good question.
Thank you.
I guess John Abraham maybe
Is
Stop.
the top.
Yeah,
Well,
that's the stereotype.
that's what
Yeah.
I would assume.
Man,
That's a
I was the
stereotype.
only
In
one who
my
thought
fantasy,
Abhishek.
he's the top.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
To me, Abhishek is the top.
why?
Can't even-
Explain.
No one's gay in this room, so we're all gonna.
It's
so
just the
go into why you
vibes.
think he's a top.
It's just the vibes. I guess like he had, like I told you, I felt like when watching the movie, they tried to push him to the front a bit more. He had a bit more of a leading persona, and also I feel like John Abraham's like this really hot guy that someone like Abhishek would keep around as his like side piece or something. I feel like I was like,
Do you think? Can you imagine?
he's like a trophy wife, like basically,
Yeah,
right?
but could you imagine John Abraham like taking it from behind like that? I just don't really see that in my head.
I
too
mean, he's
much.
the hotter person.
He's
here.
a hotter person,
Right, so I
yeah.
feel but I just don't think he would do that.
May I remind you, there was a scene in the women's changing room, and it was Abhishek that was getting drilled from behind.
That's true.
Allegedly.
What?
Oh yeah.
In the
Yeah.
dressing
In the
room, they were
dressing
like,
room.
Oh,
Yeah, the
jeez.
the filmmakers wanted us to see John as top and Abhishek as bottom. I
Maybe
guess.
women just wanted to see Abraham.
Yeah,
Abraham.
so that's why the film
What, get
works.
pegged?
Probably. Yeah,
that's
for
hot.
sure. Yeah,
so they come to the condo, they pretend they're gay, but they live in separate rooms. Nobody
Which never
questions
raises
that.
a question. Yeah, exactly. Priyanka's just like, all right, like, well, how is that not a concern
what?
that they live in separate rooms? If a male and female couple came and did that, you'd probably be like, what's going on? Do you have relationship issues?
Well, this is a bit of a reach, but I know that there are couples out there who sleep in separate rooms.
Maybe after like 10 years, when you're like married and you say, I'm
No,
sick
I
of your
would like
snoring.
I like to like have different room.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Myth dispelled.
Okay. This
Gay
is
people,
socially
they're just like
acceptable.
us.
Yeah,
Now,
comes in all colors and varieties.
And
does
sleeping.
Neha live with them in
Yeah.
this condo? So it's 3 bedrooms?
Right, it's a 3-bedroom. Yeah, they talk
Okay.
about that.
They never showed her bedroom.
They never show her bedroom.
Privacy.
She's
for the
always on the
lady.
couch, and we see their 2 because we know the layout, and they have like a shared bathroom. They talk about that a lot, but we never see her room or if she has a private bathroom or anything.
Yeah, was it a condo? Like
Yeah.
in a bigger building?
It was
Right.
beautiful. It had like a massive kind of like window with a balcony
Yeah.
outlook, like a nice view.
Well,
It was
She had a
worth
pool?
it. Yeah, yeah.
Do
with a
the
pool.
nurses in Miami afford to live like that?
We just talked about that. One thing, I like her reason for renting out the condo, which was like, yeah, I bought it, and then the bank started asking for money, so now I need to do something about that. It's like, what the fuck? Like,
Surprise.
how did you well, how did you think this would work? Like, where did you think the money would come from? Or do you know how, like, buying things work? Like, she's just like, yeah, like, I just randomly bought this, and now I have to pay it back. So she rents it
I think
out.
it was kind of portrayed that she comes from money,
Yeah,
and then
she's
she doesn't
filthy
give a. It's like an afterthought of buying a property. If it's an afterthought that how are you gonna pay for your property you're buying, then you're probably like super rich.
Of course. Of course.
And they fall in love with Neha, right? They're attracted to her. And how do we know this? Because they keep checking out her ass. There's a lot of ass shots in that movie. It was like she bends down and they do. Okay. No.
Yeah, while Priyanka's wearing a lot of like revealing clothing and they're slowly falling in love.
Very revealing.
So we get this montage of them like spending time together, like bonding over their friendship. Like they go to the beach, they check Priyanka out. They go shopping. They drive through in a pink Cadillac. I don't know if you remember that. There's always a pink Cadillac in the
Two
movie.
straight guys pretending to be gay.
You guys remember the golden swimsuit that Priyanka wore when she
Yeah.
was on the beach? Like that also became iconic. That outfit and like the Desi girl sari. I think that those were like this movie had a massive influence on fashion.
But then
at the
holds
time,
up.
yeah.
It really does. So tell me, Winnie, like this is like before Dostana, there was never like a shot of a girl walking in a like an iconic outfit or anything. It just starts from there.
I don't know. Maybe Keely can talk about how provocative this was in that time. But I think Priyanka was like an up and coming artist. She was kind of seen for her like sex factor. So this movie, I know for saris, I think it definitely like set off another fashion in saris where you just wear the bikini top and the sari on top,
It's
and
sexy.
with the like
Yeah.
with the glittery and stuff. That set off a whole sari fashion. Bikinis.
It's a good look.
It-
Was it like very groundbreaking at the time, Keely?
No, it was like we already started watching films that had like very revealing clothing. There were like certain films which have that kind of costume, and then there will be certain films that will not have. So the costume designer was Manish Malhotra and Aki Narula. I know this guy Manish Malhotra. I mean, he was like a very big fashion designer for celebrities and also films. And then I think he designed the costume for Priyanka. And the other guy Aki, he designed for everyone else. So Manish was like this all glittery glamoury kind of so I think he brings out that side of the fashion. He comes up with that fashion and it's kind of a trendsetter.
Yeah.
But in terms of revealing, it was already we were already seeing, and it was like
Right.
okay, fine, yeah.
But it
Yeah.
feels like a like Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition
Yep.
movie.
Yeah.
It's just skin everywhere, like just hot people showing skin the entire movie.
But like Winnie said, the fashion in this movie is quite influential. You see all the characters there. There's a lot of style to it. I would say. Like in every shot you see.
And
Like the
Abhishek and John Raham for not being gay was still like dressed very like gay. Do you guys remember like with the scarf that they had tied around the sweater? I don't know if that was intentional or not, but they fit like the
They look super gay. I mean, they have sashes and they're like unbuttoning their shirts and stuff. Yeah.
Do you
I just think of like the Ritik in Kabi Kushi Kabigam when he was like wearing like sleeveless shirts, and then like, there was that reporter that said like, hey,
yeah.
you look kind of like she didn't outright say it, but like he looks kind of feminine. It's that. It reminds me of that. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
colorful outfits,
which is basically like Karan Johar influence, you could say. It's always his movies.
Like, what a dream if you could just dress up these guys as gay guys and get away with it.
It's like Barbie dolls.
Yeah,
Real life
exactly.
Barbie
You,
dolls.
you guys remember the discussion during Dhoom, like how they were like so they felt like they should like start kissing each other. Yeah, so I think this is like a script written after watching Dhoom. Like, okay, cast those two guys,
fan
make them
fiction.
gay.
It's fan fiction. What if they lived together?
Yeah. They said like in some other life we could have been like good friends. While like before killing himself, John says like in some other life we could have been really good friends. So that's what Dostana is.
For sure, this is like an alternate universe where they
Doom.
make out instead of fight with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
This is like a girl's fantasy land too, though, right? Like living with two hot dudes.
I know.
But
Which is funny, right? Because Priyanka gets stressed about it when she finds out they're both in love with her. And I'm like, wow, what a terrible situation to be in. Like, two hot guys. Okay, one average guy and one really hot guy is in love with you.
I think they were like equidistant to her, so she cannot choose and pick at that point, and she already kind of started seeing the other guy who
Yeah.
was like being like a puppy to her, kind of like dude.
I mean, for a while, she was
Not
talking
puppy.
about her struggles, right? In the beginning, she was talking about how, like, oh, I'm still single. The guys I'm with are gay. When
Yeah.
my family probably would have vouched for them or whatever.
Yeah, she already had a hot for those two guys. That was sure, but she was in her head like, oh, they're gay.
So yeah, like Priyanka, her character Neha, she works at a magazine. So her boss is basically like leaving for another publication, and then he kind of wants to be like, figuring out who should take over. And Neha gets this funny idea that why don't I invite him to dinner and meet my gay roommates in a ploy to like get her to win the position, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then you get this dinner scene where it's like, it's a very funny one, I think. They pretend to be gay in front of like her boss, and they also get like the immigration officer, like surprise inspection, who's like just trying to see if they're really gay, and then
Wait, but let's come on. So we need to talk about that plot. They're going to the American courthouse, right, to do like a gay marriage certificate thing,
to get the permit, right, residence permit,
right?
yes.
And then they meet this gay government officer who's like, okay, but then he just randomly shows up to their house and uninvited and doesn't tell them and says, I just need to make sure you're gay, so I'm going to hang out with you and party all night. I'm also gay. I'm just going to hit on all of you as well. And so, like, this government officer is just kind of, like, assaulting them and forcing them to be gay in front of him so, like, they can get residency. And I don't think they do surprise gay inspections like that.
Well, I want to ask Adam, does that work in Miami? Do gay people get shorter queue times at the immigration office?
If you're a straight couple, yeah, they can randomly show up at your house and just say, okay, now like dance with each other to make sure you're a couple. And like sometimes the government officer will like hit on the wife or the guy, depending on his sexuality. And they can just show up anytime. And so I guess it's the same for gay people too.
he actually has hot for John Abraham, so
Of
that's
course.
why like he sent letter to Abhishek Bachchan's like home address
Yeah.
that he gave in England,
Yeah.
and then like to cross verify with his mother whether he's gay or not, and his mother says that like no, he's not gay. So that's why he came to like with a hot for John Abraham that he can hook up with John or something like that.
It's an immigration officer trying to ruin their relationship and deport someone so then he can be with his like estranged lover. And also, yeah, so Abhishek's mom lives in London,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, we sent it to that address, and then it cuts to her house with a bunch of palm trees, like very clearly not in England. And then like 1 hour later she's in Miami because she like hopped on a plane from London. I thought the time and geography was very weird.
No, I think that was like a flashback to how she really is, or is it like?
She had her house in London with palm trees. I don't.
Oh yeah, that part is not.
It just looked like Miami, but for some reason it was London.
To the immigration officer's defense, though, like he did walk into the bathroom and see John Abraham and Abhishek plotting this whole thing,
That's
right?
correct, yes.
Yeah, so he had reason to be suspicious. You would think he would have denied their application because he pretty much saw them scheming against the system.
Maybe it's
But-
like
They were talking in Hindi.
But and that's another point that really bothered me. Usually films don't irk me the way they irk Adam. Like, I don't get hung up on any small details. But throughout the dinner scene, which is like quite hilarious, like Nikki said, it's very unclear whether the immigration officer understands Hindi or not.
yeah.
Because there are some points where he's like understanding what's going on, and
And then there was a part where the mom was like talking to God, and he was like, there was like a throwaway gag where he was like, "Who's she talking to?"
yeah, it's just really strange, that whole setup.
Can we fuck yet? Can you?
When's a threesome happening? That's what I'm here for.
I need to stamp your residency here.
Do you guys remember like Priyanka Chopra didn't say tell her boss that they're a couple.
Yeah, they didn't say
Because she needed
Because
them to think that they're single.
Yeah,
right?
so that he can hit on them.
She was pretty much trying to pimp out her gay roommates for her
Yes,
job
that
to get
is
a
true.
promotion.
So not everyone is gray here. With
everyone's
dark side
manipulative.
of their characters. Yep.
That's true.
Yeah, there's a lot of manipulation. God damn. So
You know how gay people are.
so in Jesus Christ. So in the dinner party, like the last person to show up was Abhishek's mom, right? That, as Adam has mentioned. I think that's when they have a heart to heart about how, like, you should accept your son's happiness. Like, you should be happy for his happiness.
But like before coming around, like she did like some weird as hell stuff, like like going at night is his son's bedroom and like doing some dark magic on him so that like
exactly.
he's not gay anymore. So it's like I think it's a good reference to like how people like now, like even in every culture, people kind of say like, oh, we can make like gay people come around and be straight either by this or by that. They need treatment and like the film kind of uses that trope with like literal dark magic and shit that which we all know like doesn't work. And then that contradiction was like, and that not contradiction, that parallel was pretty good in my opinion. Yeah.
I think it's a very nice depiction of how dramatic Indian parents can be. Like, I think they used her character in a very comical way. It serves an important plot point in terms of like the key takeaway message that the film wanted to promote, but they did it in such a funny way where they show her doing all these
Yes.
like dramatic things and then fainting, and then she has like this one scene with the song Madalala where she's like moving through couches and it's like her world is falling apart just because her son is gay.
Yeah.
And she actually received a nomination for Best Supporting Actor for this role, so she's
Yeah.
quite applauded
This
for
movie
that.
keeps winning. Like it's portraying everything correctly. Like I loved it. Yeah, they did a great job. They're trying to live with this woman that they're in love with, and they can't hit on her because they need to pretend to be gay. I texted you guys in the chat that I had the same experience. So, in America, I used to work at there's a gay hamburger restaurant that was like a family drag queen restaurant in Colorado.
So definitely not Chick-fil-A.
It was
That's
called
like
Hamburger Mary's.
anti-gay. Okay.
It was pro-gay, but it was a family restaurant, and they did like drag queen bingo and karaoke and stuff. And before that, I used to work at a sushi restaurant as a waiter, and I was very bad because you can tell by my voice I come off as very rude sometimes or very curt, and so I don't do like the American hospitality that well. So I was like, okay, I'll go to a gay restaurant, and then I could just speak the same way, but they think I'm like hitting on them this time. And it is true. So like I was the only straight guy in this gay restaurant, but I've killed it, like because I would just talk the same, but they're like, oh, he's being like a jackass, but he's gay, so it's funny. Instead of like at the sushi restaurant, they just like hated me and wouldn't tip me, but I would do the exact same thing and they would like tip me so huge here. But then I also got the most numbers from girls at this place because like tons of like girls would come and they really like the gay bar because they feel comfortable. They can like hit on guys without being afraid of like getting hit on back, and like they're just like in a safer environment with hot dudes and stuff. And they'd always say like, "Oh man, I wish you weren't gay," and I'd be like, "Well, guess what?
Surprise.
Wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm not, bitch." and I just met a lot of people there. But there's one time I had this returning guy customer who like kind of had a crush on me, and he would kind of come to see me sometimes. And there was this chick that I was trying to hit on, but they were like right next to each other. So like I was trying to like just communicate with my eyes to her that like I'm not gay, but like still with the guy next to her, like kind of still flirt back with him so I wouldn't like lose him as a long-term customer. And I saw this girl later and I was like, yeah, man, I was trying to like make you understand that like I was like hitting on you and like but I couldn't say anything at the time. And she's like, yeah, I could not understand why you were acting so fucking weird the whole time. I'm just like stealthily trying to like hit on her and like not let this guy know I'm straight. So the movie hit close to home. I understand. We've all been there.
That sounds like a short film right there.
It was hard. I still remember because I'm like, man, this is gonna be really tricky. I can't like lose my money, but like maybe she'll get the hint.
All right, that's a goal. If we get 2 million subscribers, we'll film this experience.
Yeah, we'll go back in time and recreate my. I'll sorry. With the same restaurant, I'll just bring up one last thing because it always stung me during the job interview with that place. The guy asked me like, "What are your hobbies?" And I don't have many hobbies, so I was like, "I have friends that are DJs." And he's like, "We don't need to talk about this anymore." And he's like, "That was the saddest thing he'd ever heard." He's like, "We could just move on." And I was
I
like,
think
"Yeah,
that
that's-
got you hired.
I
There.
think he felt so bad
Yeah.
that my hobby was having friends.
No,
that-
this
that
guy's
did
probably
shit.
like, well, he has no hobbies, so he can spend all his time at work.
Which was true.
Jackpot.
Which was true. He loved me as an employee.
So Neha gets like, she gets like this task from her new boss, right? They to redesign the.
She's
the
working
magazine.
for a magazine.
She's working. Yeah, we already
We,
mentioned.
we, yeah.
All right, my bad.
So
sorry.
she has to redesign the magazine in 2 weeks, and she didn't get off on the with the right foot with her new boss, right? And we get like scenes of like the three of them bonding, the three friends, right? And there was like a montage. I remember there was like a montage where she was like redesigning. She was doing the photo shoot with John Abraham. They were doing like some photo shoot. She quickly explains her project. Her new boss is proud of her, and there was like we get like a quick cut to like this fashion show where it was a success, and they wanted to see the boss come out on stage. And what does he do? He holds her hand, and they come out. We get this moment where she's like smitten with him, and when they come out on the stage, they the two men realize that they've got some competition. So the second half of the movie,
Yeah, they have an intermission, which
they
is
do.
nice.
Yes, the second half of the movie is like a lot of manipulation.
Mm.
A lot of manipulation happening. Like,
Some of the most fucked up manipulation I've ever
To the
seen.
point I felt uncomfortable at one point where I was like, can this just stop?
Yeah.
Like, how are we supposed to root for these main characters?
How many
You're
lives
not
will they
supposed
ruin?
to.
Yeah.
I like that. Like you're not supposed to. That they went to that far that the main character you won't root for them. That was really really nice one because like they're doing like bad things. But by the way, like the way the boss was behaving with her, was it like a HR violence?
Yes.
Absolutely, but
Like the
But it
way
was
he was like kind of flirty in his tone a lot when he was giving work and stuff like that. That you can do it and something like that, like very seductive manner. Felt
but it was like mutual. I feel like she was reciprocating, which made it seem a bit less creepy. It was definitely like a violation of like workplace policies, but
Yeah,
Because-
because he's presenting her as like his girlfriend and as getting promoted in the company at the
Yeah.
same time.
I think initially there was
Yes.
not much romance between them. When he did that, I think it just showed, it was meant to show that he's a good character because he's allowing her to get recognition for her work. Because I think a lot of companies,
Or-
the man would just, like the boss would take the credit for it, but he went the extra mileage and like gave her credit for it. So I think it was just meant to like make us like his character because they're gonna start this romance between them, and so now we should root for him while the gay couple is being like pretty much dickheads, right, to everyone around them.
Thanks for the defense, Winnie.
In India, that's the
Defend
most
them.
progressive thing a boss has ever done.
Literally,
That's
it's
the
like
least sexual harassment any girl will experience in that type of
Right.
workplace.
you're giving a subordinate credit. You must be the best person ever.
Can I marry you
Right.
and
Can
be
you
a mom
suck my
to your
dick?
kid?
Please, I got you the promotion, bitch.
Could you just put on this mask of John Abraham and I'll marry you?
So she finds out that her boss is also a divorced dad. He has a kid named Veer. And the two men, they try to like win her affections one by one, right? You get like this moment where so like John Abraham, his character has like a photo shoot in Philadelphia. So he goes away, and then Abhishek's character gets like a funny idea to take her out on a date.
Yeah. Okay.
So Winnie, I'm gonna ask you one thing, okay? Winnie, imagine you don't know any of us, the three of us, and we all pretend to be gay to live with you.
Which one would you believe is gay more?
Oh my gosh.
So we're like a throuple, right? And then
Yeah.
Keely decides to, he has to go shooting somewhere else. And Adam has to go away and edit the next Fear of Stairs episode. So I'm left with you, right? And I'll be like, you know what? I'm going to take you as friends to an amusement park. I'll buy out the whole amusement park where there's nobody there. And I'll be like, this is just a hangout, right? And we go on all the carnival rides. We ride the merry-go-round. We play mini golf.
Play DDR.
And then not only that, but at the end of it all, I give you a gift and I say, this is our diary. And it's just the photos of us. I don't mean us four. I mean just us two. And it's like, this is the first day we went on a walk. This is the day you beat me at Tekken. This is the day we smoked a joint together. I don't know, at that point you would realize something is up, right?
Well, that's like perfect friendships.
I don't believe it.
The gay friendships that all women dream of. You're like the ultimate gay best friend.
I've given Whitney so many friendship books between us. That's normal. How does the nurse rent out an entire amusement park?
That was my
insane.
question.
That was so romantic.
American
that
jobs
scene.
really pay really well.
Incredible.
It's-
I want to be a nurse. If I could own amusement parks like that.
So now we have them not staying in the same bedroom, Abhishek wooing Priyanka in this way, and still no flags have been raised.
And then a beautiful romantic dinner by John Abraham.
Yeah, and where they watch Kuch Kuch Hota Hai.
Like while
Another
hugging, like
multiverse.
really touchy, nice, like comfy.
And he hires a boy to just like use sprinklers on them to make it rain and stuff. She's having the best dates of her life. With
I
these
have
two
never
gay men.
even had these kind of dates from straight men, so it's like
You'll never have dates like
Yeah.
that from straight men. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
I
Straight
don't
men
think
would
she
never
had.
do that.
No, it's because they can't afford to buy out the whole amusement
No,
park.
that's true.
So
Gay guys are rich.
here you learn the trick. Like you ask straight man to like pretend you are gay.
all right,
Then they will go. And you're my best friend, and you're gay.
will you guys pretend to be gay? Is
I-
that where
I-
we're going?
I have been.
I will have to try and see if I like kissing beards. Looking at you, Keely.
No.
Oh gosh, well, you know what's gonna happen after this.
Whitney, whose date was better?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think John Abraham was nicer,
All
like
right,
more
but-
intimate, and also because like it's John Abraham, so
But
I
you
might
could
be biased.
swap them.
I think still, like, what we're gonna do in the amusement park is cool. Can we go on the roller coasters? Are there gonna be any like people to
You saw them.
navigate?
They went on everything.
Yeah, definitely amusement park then. If I
Okay,
could, yeah.
I mean, I'm with you, Whitney. That's my
me,
dream.
me too. Me too.
Yeah,
I
it
can't
feels like
afford
Zombieland.
So she goes on these dates, and she's like, "Well, these are my fun gay best friends," and then she's still gonna marry the guy, right?
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. So then what happens is that her boss invites her to this like children's charity event with an adult twist. I don't know what that. It's like a paradox. I don't know.
Come to this
Full of-
triple X kids party I'm hosting.
Yeah, so that's when they, try to woo her affections, and we get that scene with like her wearing the silver sari and all that. And it ends with like him. It ends with Abby coming in late, and the two guys notice that she really has the hots for him, basically. And that's when the evilness of this movie comes out. So Sam and Kunal, they team up together and try to manipulate behind the scenes. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, they went be really dark.
They went really dark. So the first thing they did was like they went to Abby and befriended him. And I don't even know why Abby would be listening to these two gay men in the first place. But
I would be so suspicious of these two guys.
Exactly. But he's just like a dumb guy. Like he just follows every word they say. So like you dress up in a colorful outfit, you rip out you wax off your chest hair. You
Because
act like
she said she liked it. She's like, I like his chest hair, so they're like, take
But-
it off.
But all this while, he's like a main editor of a fashion magazine,
Right.
right?
Like, how did he get there when he's so
How
easily
is he-
manipulated?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does the worst fashion ever, being like the chief editor of
That's
a
right.
fashion magazine.
That's so weird.
Oh,
yeah.
the things you do for love.
Yeah.
That's what he
makes-
said. That's what his.
He makes her pay for dinner.
Oh yeah.
Closes
She
the door on her.
she was talking about how she likes that he's still traditional chivalrous pretty much, and they start telling him that he has to be equal and treat her as an equal. Perfect. But the worst part that what they did was when they got his son involved.
Yeah. That's the darkest it gets.
That is when I just turned against them.
They,
Cross the line.
they befriend the kid and tell him that like if the dad gets married, this kid will get abandoned.
Yeah.
They instill fear in him.
They're like they're gonna send you off to boarding school.
I think
Like
it's
he's gonna love Neha instead.
It's a stepmother archetype from like old generation stories, I guess. Like stepmother will hate you and like send you away kind of thing. Yeah. So they were like doing that. It's like so bad.
And then they make the kid fake being sick so the dad can't go on a date with Neha. And like so they're like pitting them against each other and making the kid lie and Abby lie and everyone lie with each other.
And at the same time, they're telling Neha, like, look, he's always going to choose his kid. Like, you're not his priority. So they push her to push for the date while his son is pushing him to stay home because he's pretending to be sick. And it's just pure evil,
And what's the end game?
right? Like, who's going to get her at the end, like, between the two of them?
Nothing.
They're really just plotting to make her lose this guy.
And while all this
Selfish.
Yes. While all this was happening, they were so smug about it. Like there was no sense of remorse whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking from Dick.
They didn't care about
yeah.
her as a friend, even though they gave her
Yeah.
a friendship book.
So Abby invites Neha to a basketball game, and that's when she finds out that like he plans to propose to her
At the basketball
at
game.
the basketball game because he ordered a ring, and
This is the second date, by the way, right?
it's the second.
It's like the second date, right?
I-
They have
Yeah.
dinner, and then he's like, I'm going to propose to her at the basketball game.
I mean, you see the relationship progressing through songs and stuff, right? Like, yeah.
But this is the worst thing you can do to anyone. Like, you know, like put them in like this huge thing without any
Right.
discussion and just propose them and put them in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it has that weird Indian movie love affair with basketball, which I still don't get yet. Why? Like, I think they're just obsessed with basketball because they don't play it themselves.
No.
Right.
Maybe some like fashionable like international school kids, but that's like limited to that. Like very small number of people.
Maybe it's just representative of America to them.
Yeah. I think it's like Quidditch to them.
Oh, jeez.
You know what I mean? Like, if they see it, it's like, oh, that's America. It's
Maybe. Yeah,
basketball,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Baseball is
Hogwarts.
too. Baseball is too. I don't know. Baseball. I never see baseball much though.
No. Yeah, because I think it's too close to cricket. I think basketball is super alien and weird and very American. It's only really in America.
Yeah.
So they just like love basketball in these films.
And they use that as a bullying prop.
Yeah, and they love just the ball to like throw at people and stuff. So he proposes to her.
he plans to propose to her, right? And then like there was a moment where he has to like go get the ring. That's when Neha has like a little interaction with his son, right? Where like she was scolding him. That triggers like his like fear that she's mean and that his dad will leave him for her. And Neha gets up and then meets Sam and Kunal, right? And then tells her like, should I say yes or should I say no? Because he's gonna propose to me. And that's when you get like that turning point where both the men confess their love for her, and that's when things start to fall apart, right? I'm just gonna wrap it up, okay? 'Cause, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Like-
fine. They just leave and they're like, "We're sorry, we fucked up." They come back and see her thinking that she was gonna get married to this guy, and they're not. Like they both broke up because the fucking kids ruin everything, you know. And yeah, that's
It was like a fashion show, right? And then
at Hotel Delano.
is that a fancy?
They're all at Hotel Delano in this movie.
Okay, so yeah, that's happening, right? And then they literally came up to to tell her like, hey, we're the assholes. We fucked up. We manipulated everything, including Abby's little boy. And to prove that they would go to great lengths, they had a makeout session. to put it simply.
No,
And-
that was the punishment, right?
That was the
Yeah,
punishment.
that was Abhi's kind of like, he told them make out, then we'll forgive you. And then as they're making out, the camera pans to Abhi, and he's just like, man, even I wouldn't do that for you, which kind of like just punches into like how bad homosexuality is. I feel like at the end of the movie where
This
it's
is
so
the one
frowned
moment.
upon.
Yeah, where they do some gay panic. The like not the characters, but the actors, I think themselves are doing gay panic because they're not really kissing. Like
No,
it's clear, it's very clear they're not really kissing. The camera covers it up, so like they are afraid of kissing each other.
absolutely. But I think the fact that they even showed, like two great actors were willing to act like they were kissing was probably quite radical at the time. But I didn't even like that whole scene, because I feel like they were apologizing. At first, Neha and Abhi were not forgiving them. They were gonna walk out. And so these two guys like rush up to the stage and kind of like almost, I feel like, forcing them to forgive. I don't know. I feel like they're selfish till the end.
They are, and also the premise is like you have to humiliate yourself to prove that you're real about this, which is like a weird test. Like you could just be nice to her or something, but they like want to ridicule them to like debase them one last
Yeah.
time.
And that's it. That's Dostana right there. It's just a cute little movie about homosexuals pretend to be homosexuals manipulating relationships.
It's about the gay agenda manipulating children to ruin straight people's lives.
So the movie was quite popular. It received a lot of critical acclaim. Like it used a lot of star power to bring homosexuality into the mainstream conversation in India. But it was also criticized to some degree for promoting negative stereotypes about gay people, like we mentioned earlier. But do you guys think it did that, having watched the film? Like, how do you think the approach was?
Well, before that, when the movie came out, how did you guys feel about it, or how was it received?
It
in
was
your
received pretty
households?
well.
Yeah.
So it was the hype was like, oh, are they gay? Because I think from I don't remember the trailer, but maybe from the trailer you couldn't say that they were actually gay or not. I think that like this thing that two major actors are like appearing in a gay movie, so that was kind of a big deal. But when the film came out, it was well received, and and then like in this like mainstream films, there hadn't been many gay representation. This is, even if it is not a gay representation, but it brings the gay culture, like Vinny said, right? Yeah.
I would have loved to be in the theater. Like, if nobody knew about that, and like hearing the theater when they're about to kiss, or like when everyone finds out they're gay, like that would have been so fun in theaters. That would have been a blast if nobody knew about that. Yeah, I would have loved that. And I think if I was a teenage girl, Winnie, if I was your age when this came out, I would have been like sexually awakened at all of it, like the gay fantasy of it, like the, I don't know, Miami lifestyle, John Abraham, like all of it would be. I think I'd be obsessed with it. Yeah.
There is actually like only two gay characters in the film, like real gay characters, the ex-boss and the immigration officer, right?
Yeah.
Were there any other?
The producer.
Right. So Karan Johar in an interview addressed kind of like some of these comments about all of the gay criticism promoting gay stereotypes. And first he mentioned that after this movie, he received so many emails from young people in India who were like thanking him for making the movie because it allowed their parents to become aware of homosexuality and just be able to talk about it. But then when he was kind of like prompted on some of the stereotypical representation of gay people, I'll just read the quote because I think it's quite nice. He goes, this is in 2016 in an interview, which also shows that the movie was relevant like 8 years after its release. He says, there was once a point where we weren't even aware. People criticized me for stereotyping homosexuality in Dostana. It's ridiculous how unaware people were before. The film, at least, brought the conversation about homosexuality into the drawing room of every urban home.
Yeah, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
And, in America, maybe we had films like Brokeback Mountain or something.
Oh, yeah.
But those were indie films. Like,
Yeah.
the majority of people did not see them.
Yes.
And at the time, Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal weren't major stars. They were like, young actors at the time. So for it to be like such a major studio production with huge actors and a big budget thrown behind this, like that's a big deal and bigger than anything America did at the time.
This movie was compared quite a bit to I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. And I think the people who made the movie also mentioned that that was kind of like where the influence came from. Now, I've watched I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry like so many years ago. Can't really remember the plot too well, but did you guys see any similarities?
No, and Adam Sandler does not look like John Abraham. They're not super good looking. And that movie had way more gay panic, right?
Also, at any point, you can just say, "Oh, these are straight people pretending to be gay,"
Yeah.
and then you can just walk over that, that. Yeah.
The
that
director
mind.
talked about that. He mentioned like when making the movie, he didn't want it to be overly preachy. If you didn't want to take the gay message, just enjoy it as like three people living together in Miami. Like it's not overly preachy at all.
And that's what I like too. Is it doesn't just handle the gay stuff well, but it handles like the friend zone well. Like the end of the story
Yeah.
isn't those guys like having sex with her. She does get married to the older guy, and they're just happy being friends, and that's cool.
Yep.
And that's chill, and I really like that. Like the movie's like you can be friends with girls and guys, and it's a good message.
That's a rarity in Bollywood films as well. Like very less film has that aspect where the main characters become friend at the end and not like in a relationship.
If you think about it, traditionally, like the least masculine stuff is to be accused of being gay and being friend zoned by hot girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
And both of these big main stars it happens to them, both of those things, and they totally own it and own this movie, and it's not a black mark on them at all. All right,
Yeah.
we're going to the fear of stairs scale, right? We're all good?
Yeah.
All right. What was the staircase moment? I mean, for me, it
Hardwick.
was when they manipulate the kid. Because you're like,
Yes.
well, what the fuck? Like, I just didn't see that going that place for these grown men to just
Yeah.
ruin a kid's life like this.
It was surprising, but it didn't add a huge twist to the plot, right? It was just kind of a
Yeah.
supporting plot line to show their antiques getting very nasty.
It made them evil.
Right. But
Yeah, I was also thinking of that, but there was a weak staircase moment for Priyanka for sure.
yeah, right. Oh yeah, the basketball game would kind of be the closest staircase
her.
moment where they confess her love. She has a big proposal. The guy is not really proposing anymore because the kid doesn't want him to get married. It's just a mess of a scene, right?
Okay, I actually thought Abby was gay. We were introduced to him. So, like, when he held Priyanka Chopra's hand, that was my fear. I didn't realize they would fall for each other.
That would be such a good movie
Yeah.
twist if he's like, sorry, I'm gay, and then her two gay roommates are straight, and yeah, that would have been good. Dance floor claws.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
5 out of
Hot.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Top notch. I felt like all the musical numbers had served its purpose to show like plot progression.
What's the best one?
For me, it had to be
No.
it had to be the one at the adults only children's charity event.
Desi girl?
Yeah.
Sing it, Nikki.
I don't remember.
just the chorus. Desi girl, Desi girl.
Okay.
For you, Winnie?
I was such a big fan of this album. So I watched this movie quite a few times in high school. I had like a really good friend who was gay, not fully out of the closet. We watched this movie with him. So I have like good memories of it. And this album was like something I downloaded and listened to because all the songs were so good. My favorite was Jaane Kyun. Jaane Kyun, tu janta hai. Da, 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 da. I'll be alright. I'll be alright. Okay, I'm gonna cringe when I hear this.
It's a great soundtrack.
Which
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
scene was that?
I don't remember, but it also plays at the end. No, at the end is Madalala. That's also really good. But also to give a context that like the soundtrack of this movie was highly acclaimed. They received nomination for best soundtrack. It became the 4th highest selling album in India in the year, which is like quite surprising for a movie soundtrack to gain
Wow.
that kind of recognition. So, and Desi Girl comes from it, and I think that's like a hot staple song. I don't think you'd meet any Desi person who doesn't know it. I don't think I've been to an Indian wedding since the song came out where this song didn't come on. So, yeah,
I've heard that song before,
of course.
and I've never heard any songs really. Family Feud factor.
Mother.
The mother, 3 out of 5, I guess. I would say.
Auntie, mother.
Auntie's like, okay.
Like it was.
But Mother's
it
was huge.
like the conflict was there, but it gets resolved pretty.
Son
Yeah.
versus dad with the little kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
How about this regional heat check? Did it
Re-
authentically reflect Miami culture well?
Yes. What's your thought?
I mean, Miami's super gay. I think they kind of nailed it. Even straight guys look gay in Miami. The bold colors, like the beach, the atmosphere. I thought they nailed it. And Hotel Delano's a dream. We all know about Hotel Delano.
I didn't clock the name actually.
Because they
while
kept
watching.
bringing it up, and I was like, are they sponsoring this? And I was like looking up the Hotel Delano website and stuff, because they just keep talking. They're always meeting at Hotel Delano only. All their events are there. And so I looked it up. It's like a famous hotel in Miami that they started branching out later, but I think they were just the big hotel in Miami that like paid for this movie.
Maybe just gave like free staying for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why notice that?
Moral of the melodrama. What was the big message?
Right.
Be cool. Don't be evil.
Kids are easy to manipulate.
Don't manipulate kids.
It's okay to be gay. This movie has no real gay characters, but it's still okay to be gay.
Yeah. It brings home the message very nicely without having any main gay characters.
Yeah, I give it a 5 just because I feel like it has that kind of moral message where it's like, take away from it what you want. We're not going to shove it in your face.
Yeah.
It's open to interpretation.
All the characters are very sexy, but none of them have sex with each other.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's a good moral message.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to fuck everyone.
But you can also see that the moral of the message is that affirmative action is the wrong way to go because it'll always be abused, because we do see them abusing public policy to fast track their green card or residency.
That's how we'll make America great
Yeah,
again.
it was about immigrants exploiting our system.
Right.
And I think we should be more strict.
Yeah, that's what right-wing Americans would take away from
They
this
didn't
movie.
have to do gay sex acts with each other to get it, and I think that's bullshit, to be honest.
This movie is gonna make it a requirement to submit a porno video.
Yeah, view it to your spouse. Okay, yeah, so what'd you rate it? Out of 5.
A strong 4 for me. I think it ticks almost all the boxes. I don't know much about the representing Miami aspect.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought the movie was like a breeze to watch. I thought out of all the faults it could have, it really didn't have much. Super impressive for that. And yeah, just extremely attractive cast. It's very fun.
For me, it's like, I think it's the Karanjar film I like the most. As of now, whatever film I've watched from him, this is the film I like the most.
Same.
To be honest.
Same.
Yeah.
It's my favorite Keijo so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the film overall. I give it a 5 out of 5. I think objectively, 4.5, but I just feel like it was such an easy watch. You don't really realize that 2 hours flew by. It stays interesting the whole time. Yeah, great movie.
We highly recommend.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention, but we did this movie in commemoration of
Pride Parade.
yes.
So this episode will come out just in time for Bangkok's Pride Parade. It'll be the first year that we're celebrating under the marriage equality law, which has come into effect since last year. Yes.
Are you guys going?
I am. I usually go. I've been to the last 2.
Yeah.
I went once and like it was really nice. I was taking photographs, just standing looking at the parade. Was
Are
not
there
part
pride
of the
parades
It
in
parade.
sounds so
India?
creepy when you're like, I was just taking photographs of gay people on the side of the street.
You
No,
sound
it's
like
a
the
nice place.
immigrant.
Like, there are so many photographers taking
Yeah.
photos of the parade. It's
Yeah.
a nice parade.
Kitty, are there pride parades in India?
Yeah, there are.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice.
But I don't think it's the same time. Is it like International Pride Month or it's
Right,
Thailand,
wow.
right? Yeah. So it's like different time.
Yeah.
I keep on seeing photographs on Facebook.
Yeah, so big progress has been made in Thailand. We have a bill now, marriage equality bill. Maybe one day India will get there, hopefully.
Yep.
And this film will one day be looked at as like the starting point for such a big reform.
Landmark movie.
They decriminalized gay sex.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
start. That's a start.
Okay, so I can go back to the country now.
So yeah, love free, be who you are, and we'll see you next episode.
Yeah, the next movie is. We talked about it.
Murder.
Yeah. We're gonna
Yeah.
do murder next.
Ooh.
Sounds sexy.
It sounds
It's a very sexy film.
Does it involve shooting fathers?
I don't know who gets murdered, but someone gets murdered in the film, like assassination
Man,
or
I
killing.
would not have guessed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Seems like a big plot twist. All right, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.